So I didn't record the audio, so now I have to redo it again. Luckily, it was just the intro. Alright. So what I was saying was... The other day, I was actually doing some product photography shots on my new Infinity backdrop. If you haven't seen my latest YouTube video, go check it out. I'm gonna leave a link right in the description below. It's the whole build of my whole studio, and in the next video, I'm gonna be showing you the whole rig, everything that I'm using, my gear, what I'm using for my studio. But the last video was about the whole setup. Anyways, I was doing some product shots of my headphones, I had my cologne bottle, and what else did I have? And my glasses. So just doing some sample images just to see how it looks like. The setup's all good. But then I started running into a few problems where I realized that when I started stopping down my lens just to get everything in focus, I started noticing dark spots all over the image, no matter where you look, and nothing I could do to get rid of it. The only time the spots would disappear is when I dropped down the aperture to like an f1.8 or an f2.8, and that's when they really disappeared because it was completely out of focus. But when I was at like f5.6, f8, f9, or anything higher, then I would see a lot of spots like everywhere all over the image, and it was horrible. I thought I could get rid of it, but nope. So I cleaned the lens and it wasn't that. So I took off the lens, I looked inside the sensor, and that's when I realized there was a lot of like little tiny dust particles all over my sensor. Since the Sony sensors are exposed all the time, unlike DSLR sensors, which actually have a mirror in front of the sensor, the Sony sensors are exposed, so it's constantly collecting dust every single time you swap your lens. So the first thing I just want to put out there, a complete disclaimer, is that you should not be cleaning your camera sensor all the time. You should only be doing it when it's actually dirty. And the way to actually test this out is by taking your camera, setting it on a low aperture, such as an f8, f16, f22, probably the lower the better. Then take it, put it against like a white background, your wall for instance, or a piece of paper, and then set the shutter speed to about half a second, all the way up to maybe 4 seconds or so. And then set the ISO to auto, just so it exposes properly. But make sure you're not overexposing the image, or you're not going to be able to see the dust particles as much. So you do want to move your camera a little bit, just so you don't get the object that you're shooting against in focus, because you don't want to see all the little details of like the paper or the wall, because you only want the details of the sensor dust. So right now I'm going to jump right into Lightroom to show you an example of how you can see if your camera needs to be cleaned. We can see that there are a lot of dust particles, so everywhere, all over the left, the center, and the right side. All these little tiny specks, these white specks. You can see a few big ones here, a little bit over here. There's just a lot. And that is by clicking the spot removal brush right here, clicking on visualizing spots, and then adjusting it, pushing the slider to the right until we can see all the spots over here. So as we can tell, there's quite a lot of them. So this is my before photo. I did my first pass of the cleaning. It removed practically everything except one tiny hair appeared on the sensor. Most of them were gone. There were maybe a few little ones. I went through it one more time, removed, but somehow 2 different ones appeared. These didn't move at all. They were on the very edge of the sensor, so that was actually a little tricky. So I went through one more pass, and well, as we can tell, it pretty much removed everything. Maybe if we increase a little bit more, yeah, there we go. We can see a little bit more details, like an extremely tiny one there, and one right there. But honestly, you have to crank it all the way to the right. And yeah, so there you go. Going from a before to an after, those are the results from cleaning your sensor. So what we are going to want to use is a blower just like this one. And we just want to blow it right into the camera sensor, but make sure your camera is upside down when you're doing it. Blow straight up so all the dust falls down, and we're gonna do another test right after that. So doing the same process against the wall or a piece of paper, we're gonna do another sample photo and upload it back onto the computer, onto Lightroom, to see if there are any dust particles still on the image. So most of the time, this isn't gonna help. It's gonna remove maybe the bigger pieces, but any of the little tiny dust particles are still gonna remain on the sensor. So with that, we're gonna go to the next step, which is actually going through the camera menu and clicking on the camera sensor cleaning mode. Oh, hold on a sec. Pro tip, if you have one of these, or if you have a flashlight with a red light, I would highly recommend you use it, because you'll be able to see the dust particles on your sensor a lot better than if you would with your eyes in a bright light. So dim the lights down and clean with the red light. And if you don't have a red light, get like a red gel and put it on your flashlight. It's gonna be so much easier. So what we're gonna wanna do first is to remove our lens from the camera. We're gonna turn the camera on, and I'm gonna remove this eyepiece just so you can see a little bit better. We're gonna go into the menu system, and then we're gonna go to the very right into setup number 3, and here we see cleaning mode. So we're gonna click on the cleaning mode, and here we have perform auto image sensor cleaning. So we're gonna press enter, and at the same time the sensor is gonna shake very quickly, trying to remove any dust on the sensor. So if we listen carefully, there you go. The auto cleaning is finished. Now we have to turn the camera off, and if we need to, we can clean the sensor manually. So we're gonna do that. Turn it off. And now I've done this before, so I know the sensor has to be cleaned. So we're gonna go on to the next step. Actually, let's put that down. So the next thing we're gonna do is grab our swab and the liquid that comes with it. So we're gonna take it out of the package, being as careful as we can because we do not want to touch the end. So we're gonna take that out, and we're gonna open up the liquid, and then just 1 drop or 2 on each end should be enough. There we go. So now it's a little bit wet. So now I am going to turn on the red light so I can see onto the sensor a little bit better. And go 1 pass, flip our swab over and go back the other way. There we go. Put the camera back down. And then this we can just throw away. It's garbage. Just have to dispose of it. Never use it again. So now what we want to do is use our red light to look at the camera sensor up close to see if we can see any spots on there. Since I cannot, so I guess that's it. I'm gonna put my lens back on, and I'm gonna do 1 more image sample test. And that's how you clean your sensor. And you can do this yourself. It's not too expensive. My kit only cost me $40 from Henry's. You can get it from any camera store, or you can get it on Amazon. You can also do it by sending it to the camera manufacturer and having them do it for you, but it is gonna cost you a lot more time and a lot more money because you do have to ship it out and then have to ship it back and paying for all the service work. So I do recommend it doing at home. You just have to be very careful not to push down on your sensor when you're using the swabs, but other than that, it's not too difficult to do. So you can definitely do it at home very easily. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave a comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you found this video helpful, leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace!